Emotional consideration paid for by the following. The Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Center, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center between TSC and Kroger. For further information, dial 740-386-6580. Also located on the net at goodbackbadback.com.
Marion Blue Racers football. Feel the heat, feel the excitement, the best fan experience going in Marion today. Perkins Family Restaurant and Bakery, located at 1197 Mount Vernon Avenue, right here in Marion. Open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Hey, stop into Perkins and take a look at the newly remodeled dining room. Perfect for that family get-together or that intimate get-together with friends. And hey, while you're there, check out the delicious items in the bakery. Perfect for all those Thanksgiving needs, as well as any pie, cookie, or muffin add-on to any meal. Also, check out the Get Crackin' and Biscuit Bake menus. Perkins Family Restaurant and Bakery, a family tradition in Marion for well over 30 years. From our family to yours. Hey, stop on by. Ruby Spoon Frozen Yogurt and More, where you can customize your own indulgent dessert. Choose from 14 flavors, including cookies and cream, our seasonal pumpkin cheesecake, classic white vanilla, or our creamy and rich chocolate. Check out our newest offering, fresh baked toppings. Every day we are in the back making mini cookies, mini Buckeyes, and crispy waffle cones. Come in from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and enjoy our yogurt at a discounted price of just 39 cents an ounce. Check out our Facebook page for our daily discounts for everyone, from seniors to moms. Try our fresh-made crepes and waffles, or make your own delicious and customized yogurt smoothie. Groovy Spoon Frozen Yogurt and More, right here in Marion on Mount Vernon Avenue. Hey, Scott Spears along with you on a Tuesday edition of The Exchange, joined by my longtime cohort, I can't speak today, Marianne Michaels. And we've got a couple of guests who you are going to love. You'll want to stay tuned for this whole half-hour segment and for the rest of the week here on The Exchange, because talented men are joining us today. No Charlie Evers today. We wish him well in what he's doing. He'll be back with us next week, I think. But as I said, Marianne is here, so we're going to kick it off with Words of Wisdom with Marianne Michaels.
And we've been talking about defeating depression and loneliness. And an English writer, Dobie Smith, says this: noble deeds and hot baths are the best cures for depression.
That's very nice.
Yeah, I wish it could cure it.
I
don't know if it does totally, but it's a good saying.
I don't think a bath will do it, but
I don't think a bath.
Go ahead and try.
Noble deeds might.
Noble deeds might. I don't know, Marianne. And maybe some, Zoloft?
Yes.
That would help. Throw that in there.
Yeah.
Throw Zoloft on the end of that, and you might be feeling okay. Want to tell you about our first guest here. Just met him in person, Chuck Carson, who tours around with a great show. Top of that show is a gentleman named Lynn Roberts, and we're going to meet Lynn in a second. And he does so many impersonations. Go to the website. Search Lynn Roberts on Google or Yahoo or any of those things. Go to the website. Look at all the people he does. and you are going to be excited, and we're going to have him here in just a second. But we're going to start with Chuck Carson, his cohort on his tours. Chuck, how you doing?
Doing very well, Scott. Thank you, Marilyn.
Chuck, tell me how you got involved with this. Do you tour all the time with Lynn, first of all?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Basically, we've been since 2009. The show had its premiere in Lake Forest or Park Forest, Illinois, right outside Chicago. And from then on, it's been on the go around the country.
Now, what do you do in the show?
I produce it, I direct it, and I act as the on-stage staff announcer, which
Wow.
the show is set up as a 1940s NBC radio broadcast with scripts and with commercials from the era. So I read the commercials that are live, I point and bring in the commercials that are pre-recorded, the jingles that were done, and then I interact with Lynn as Bob, or Lynn as Jack, or Lynn as Red, so we have a little bit going back and forth.
Chuck, your career started in this field. It wasn't just behind the scenes, and you were an actor.
I started as an actor on the East Coast, yes.
What roles did you have? What kind of acting did you do?
I walked on and carried a spear. I think the biggest role I had is when I really, summer stock is very big back east. And I did spend a whole summer in playing in major playhouses around the eastern region, doing Desperate Hours, and played the #1 criminal. Humphrey Bogart played the role in the movies, but it was a chance to really expand. And at the end, you know, you kind of lose everything, and it's hopeless, and he falls apart. But it was a great role.
Now, you did Off-Broadway,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And that's interesting.
Well, I was way off. I was in Connecticut, I was in Massachusetts, I was in Maine. But yeah, we did do some in New York, but it was off-Broadway.
Also, we're an announcer. Where'd you work as an announcer at? An actual announcer?
I worked all across the country. I worked at WICC in Bridgeport, Connecticut, which was a major station. Then I went off to Albany, New York. We worked there at a 50,000 watt radio station. Then went weekends, it was working New York City, which was the epic and the epitome, the top of the pile.
Oh, of course.
And we were doing great music, and then I was there for 3 weeks, and they decided to change the format and go all talk. So I left and went back into it. I think I went back to New York, upstate.
Now, did you have an announcer's voice? Do you use an announcer's voice?
I certainly do.
Well, I tell you what then, I am going to toss this to you, Chuck, if you want to introduce our guest to my left.
Ladies and gentlemen, direct from his last tour around the world, America's #1 ambassador of laughter, Bob Hope.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And you know, it's nice to be here with you, Scott and Marianne. And on all my broadcasts during World War II, I was sponsored by a wonderful sponsor, Pepsodent toothpaste. And I used to open all the shows with a little poem about Pepsodent. I wrote one here for you tonight. It goes like this: always brush your teeth with Pepsodent. Your smile will shine from morning till noon. And then you'll have a great feeling when you come to the Groovy Spoon.
Hey, there you go. Beautiful tie. Now, Bob, you carry this golf club around everywhere. Earlier on this week, Marianne and I were talking about golf, oddly enough.
Yes.
Why do you like this sport?
Well, I love golf. I started playing golf back in vaudeville days. There were 2 guys named the Diamond Brothers, and they got me started. But this is a very special club, you see. It was given to me in part by people I've worked with all over the world. This head of the driver is Copo Tikiwood from Brazil. It was given to me by the Psychiatric Association down there. They were nuts about me. And the leather on this grip, I did 30 days in Australia for the Law Enforcement Association. And a few months ago, I was in Washington, D.C., and Congress gave me the shaft.
Now, Bob...
That makes sense today.
Well, we can believe it. Bob, no hedging. How's your golf game?
Actually, it's pretty darn good. It really is. I have a wonderful love for the game, and as I say, I started way back in the 20s in vaudeville, and play with Crosby. I used to play with Crosby a lot, but people still ask me, do you play a lot of golf with Bing Crosby? And let me put it this way: Would you play with anybody that's a poor sport? They kick the ball in the hole when you're not looking. They don't write down all their strokes. And if they lose, they lay down on the green and throw a temper tantrum. Would you play with anybody like that, Scott?
No, I wouldn't, Bob.
Neither will Crosby.
Bob, what's your favorite road picture? You alluded to Bing Crosby there. So many great movies.
The best road picture is the one that we never made. That's right. We were all set up. We were going to do the road to Hollywood. And, of course, we lost Bing before that happened. But, I've got so many. I love the road to Morocco. I think that's probably, we're off on the road to Morocco, and we're riding the camel. And
Yes.
I've got the sailor hat on.
Well, let's talk about the attire here today, Bob. Now, obviously, you're your name is synonymous with those USO tours.
No, my name is Bob Hope.
Is that right? I didn't know. Where does this come from? Where'd you get this?
Well, this is actually Army surplus, this shirt. But the cap, I'm kind of fond of this. This was actually my mother's uncle's cap from World War II. And he was a clerk. He never went out of the country, but he was stationed, I think, in Connecticut, at some base up there. I'm not sure which.
Never got invaded.
No, never got invaded, so he did a good job.
He did.
He sure did. He kept everybody safe up there.
Mary Ann, do you have any questions
Well,
for
I
Bob over
wonder,
here?
didn't you have a road trip with Dorothy Lamour?
Several. And Dorothy, in
Now
Toluca,
that is a name from out of the past.
in Toluca Lake, Dorothy lived just a few blocks from where I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she was a wonderful gal, and of
Beautiful.
course, Bing and I always had to fight over her in the road pictures, and you know who won?
You,
Bing.
obviously.
No, Bing.
Oh, Bing.
He always got the girl.
Dorothy Lamour, Jane Russell, Phyllis Diller. You had a lot of leading ladies. Who was your favorite?
Marilyn Maxwell.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. In fact, one of our films, Critics' Choice, was just shown the other night. Lucille Ball, don't leave Lucy out.
Oh, no.
Lucy used to be on my radio show before she became such a big star, and Desi was the band leader. And but Critics' Choice, it was shown the other night nationally, I think on Turner Classics, and Marilyn Maxwell played my first wife, ex-wife, and then Lucy was the current wife. And
You know something that I remember vividly about Bob Hope was his wife singing to him. And I don't know if you remember that song that he sang. I love that song, and it was so romantic. I got chills when I saw that.
well, you're talking about the big broadcast of 1938, and where Bob was singing that with an ex-wife, but Dolores.
Dolores is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and Doris just recently passed away. She was 102.
Ooh.
Could I, Guy, jump in?
Jump in, Chuck.
That big broadcast of 1938 was the motion picture in which Bob got his theme song, Thanks for the Memories. What many people do not know is Bob was second choice for the film.
Really?
First choice was Jack Benny, and he turned it down. So instead of having Thanks for the Memories, he wound up with Love and Bloom, and Bob, who was a young comedian at the time, got his first big break and got the great theme song.
Oh, that's neat.
Bob, do you've had to do it so many times over the years. Everywhere you go, it's the song that's associated to you. Thanks for the memories. Do you like the song?
Oh, I love it. How could you not like something that's been with you that much and has become your number one identity?
And it's a great song.
Yes, thanks for the memory. For rainy afternoons and swinging Harlem tunes, motor trips and burning lips and burning toast and prunes. I thank you so much.
Hey, there you go. That's great. Everybody gets happy when they hear that song, Chuck, don't they?
Yes, yes.
Something about that song is
It
so
means the show
American.
is over.
Is that what it is? You can get your legs woken back up. Bob, one more question I want to ask you. Lucille Ball, you mentioned her. Was she a true redhead?
I cannot tell a lie, so I will not give away her secret on the air. Yes, that's all you're going to get
That's all
out
I'm
of
going to
that.
get out of that one.
That's
Okay.
right.
Well, Bob, we're going to hold you here for a minute. We're going to talk about some things going on, and Chuck, in current day, and Chuck mentioned this when he came in today. You can't get away from a gentleman named Herman Cain right now. He is Now up to 4 people, it could be different by the time this airs, 4 people have accused Herman Cain, Republican presidential hopeful, sexual harassment. Chuck, what do you make of this?
Well, basically, I think until something is proven one way or the other and they can absolutely confirm it, then we just have to go on, whose word you're going to believe. And that's what it is. It's 50-50. You can believe one side or the other, so it's up to you. I'm not getting in the middle.
Well, last I heard, it's not true. He says it's absolutely not true. Marianne, last week, go ahead.
No, you finish what you were going to say. I'm
well,
sorry.
Pardon me. Last week we did a show, and you said that you felt, I believe, that most likely these were true. I said, if you take a pay to be shut up, hush money, I guess is what they called it, that makes me a little skeptical of you, because if it really happened, if somebody sexually harassed me, I probably want to report it regardless of how much money you offered me. It seems a little strange that both these people took hush money and now they're crawling out of the woodwork. But Marianne, do you believe he did it?
Well, 4 people. I mean, I know 2 have come out and said it, and then the 2 others haven't. And what they're trying to do now, I guess, is the 4 of them get together and have a news conference and confront him. But why doesn't he take a lie detector's test? He said he would, and then he kind of said, I forget what his words were, but he said I would definitely take a lie detector if there's reason for me to do so.
Well, because I think, and I'm not defending Herman Cain by any stretch of the imagination, because if he did it, it's a horrible thing. But does anybody else find it strange? This man's been running for president on a high-profile basis now for about 3 months. He's been common knowledge in everybody's home, common name. It wasn't until he became the front runner that these women started peeling out of the woodwork. Now he's the front runner. Now there's 4 of them. Where were they when he was debating 3 months ago?
Well, the major question in my mind is not that. Is if someone decides to run for the presidency of the United States of America, they certainly would realize if there was a skeleton in the closet, I'm not going to run, because it's going to come out.
Yes, because they're vetted, every one of them.
I would say that, but Bill Clinton certainly didn't learn his lesson, because a lot of those things, well, he did it while he was there. So I don't know. I think everybody believes that nobody's going to find out. My only question is why didn't, when he became household name, why didn't they do it then? Why did they wait till he was the front runner to come out and say all this? Makes me a little skeptical.
Just politics.
That's right. Well, Bob, you have played for more presidents, I believe, than anybody. I think people could tell that you kind of favored Reagan.
Well, I performed before 12 presidents, and I entertained about 4. You see?
I understand.
That's interesting.
I understand. But you favored Reagan on the level.
Well, Reagan was a great pal. Of course, we both came from the acting profession. And all I can say is it's a good thing I never tried to run for president after the previous conversation you've been having, you see.
A lot of skeletons in the closet, huh, Bob?
Well, anyway, let me put it this way. I love to play presidential golf because they always invited me to the White House to stay. And Eisenhower was a great golfing buddy. Of course, with the general, well, I have to call him the president. Whenever we played, I'd always let him win. That way I kept getting asked back. But every time I would lose, I had to pay off the bet and then sign an unconditional surrender. You see, Eisenhower was tough.
I guess he was. What were your thoughts of Bush #1? Oh, you liked playing golf with Gerald Ford, too, did you not?
Oh, Jerry was great. I called Jerry the PGA hitman. And anytime, because, that's what happened at all the tournaments, Jerry would tee off and he'd zing somebody right there in the gallery. In fact, anytime I played with Jerry Ford, we had a foursome. It was Jerry, myself, a paramedic, and a faith healer. But he was a great golfer, a great pal.
Who you backing this time, Bob? Has anybody jumped out at you, presidential-wise?
Nobody's jumped out at me yet. and I refused to run. So that we'll leave it right there.
Oh, I think you would have. I think you would have won.
Well, you know, I was asked to run as a presidential candidate.
Why didn't you?
Oh, I wouldn't want to work that hard. I wouldn't want to have that stress, and it cut into my golf game. So forget it.
What is it about the live audience? You do a lot of television, have done a lot of television, but known USO shows, just touring the country, college campuses. What is it about the live audience?
Well, you know, right now to be on the level, of course, I'm not really Bob Hope.
We were going to get to that.
But in fact, I had a lady come up to me and she says, "Oh my gosh, you look so good for your age." And I'll try to rush you. She's got, is that 5 minutes or 5 seconds? Anyway, what was I going to say? My mind has slipped.
You're not Bob Hope.
Oh, I'm not Bob. I'm not.
I didn't know. It's a shock to me.
But it's so wonderful when I do a show, and we always have veterans come up to me after the show and we talk. And a lot of times, especially the World War II or Korean guys, they'll hug me and they'll say, "Bob, when you were in Seoul or when you came to Iwo Jima or something, they still remember that." The tears will be rolling down their cheeks, and they'll tell me their story, and they start calling me Bob, like I really am Bob Hope.
And that's why when we do a patriotic version, which we're doing during November because of Veterans Day. We include in the show something called "What is a Veteran" that Bob reads at the end of the show. And that's really one of the most poignant pieces that you can find, and you can hear sobs coming from the audience. It's, for us, a wonderful feeling to go out and just talk to our heroes, because every one of them, whether they were filling sandbags or shooting a rifle, they were heroes.
Well, I do want to let the audience know, with about 4 minutes left in this episode, that obviously this is Lynn Roberts, the great impressionist. Do you like impressionist or impersonator?
Actor.
Actor. Hey, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Actor does all kinds of great characters, not just Bob Hope. One of my favorites of all time, Jack Benny, is in there. Does a great Red Skelton, from what I've heard. And Jimmy Durante, I think. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk to the man behind all the characters and his relationship with Chuck. How did they get to know each other? What's the chemistry like? We've got the Marion Blue Racers on tomorrow, and maybe Jack Benny will drop by. You can never tell what's going to happen on this show. Like I say, with about three left? Okay, 3 minutes left in this. I want to talk to Lynn. Lynn, how do you do Bob Hope? What is different doing Bob Hope than yourself?
Well, first of all, I'd been doing my other characters for many, many years, and then I had an agent in Hollywood and also an agent out of Chicago that asked me if I could do Bob Hope, because nobody else does Bob Hope. It's tough. And I said, well, that's what I told him. I says, no, I don't think I could do Bob Hope because nobody impersonates Bob. There's nobody quite like him. Well, they kept asking, and I got the concept a little bit, and so I started working on it, and it took me about 2 years till I really felt like I come across on the stage, because once I get the full makeup on and everything and get into character. And but as I say, it's been the most rewarding character that I've done, and I enjoy him the most.
He had a tremendous sense of timing.
Oh, he's wonderful.
I mean,
yeah.
That was unbelievable, his timing.
The greatest monologist, I think. Probably the greatest. I mean, there have been a lot of good ones, but the greatest. When you do Bob Hope, what are the phrases? What are the stock phrases for
Well,
Bob
I want
Hope?
to tell you.
Well, I want to tell you.
Yeah.
Or I got to tell you.
Got to tell you.
And
Yes, sir.
yes, that's another one. They're so automatic, I don't even realize that I'm doing them anymore, because I just become and assume that personality.
Did you look at a lot of the
Oh,
movies?
Gosh,
and a lot
yes.
of
I've watched all of the Christmas specials.
Christmas specials.
And listened to several hundred of the old radio shows.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you do a character like Bob Hope, you say you look at the old shows. Is it just the sound and the catchphrases, or is it the walk?
No,
And
it's the walk and coming on and the way he looks over the audience, and if I'm interacting with a real beautiful girl that we get on stage. Bob used to take some beauty queen or famous cute little actress, and he'd always say, ask her to turn around, he'd say, see, that's what I brought you along for. I want these guys to see what they're fighting for.
I know.
Also the famous growl.
The growl,
You
yes.
do the growl.
Oh. That's when I looked at Mary Ann.
Oh.
Oh.
What's in a Bob Hope walk? As we're probably down to 2 minutes here. What's in the Bob Hope walk?
Well, you take your left leg and you put it out, and then you take your right leg and you just kind of swish a little as you walk across the stage.
A little swish, huh?
Actually, didn't either both he and Benny have the same walk?
Yeah, very
Benny always
similar.
accused Bob Hope of stealing his walk.
Well, Benny accused everybody of stealing something or another. That's his great shtick in life. But no, but the guys Dean Martin had a walk.
Yes.
Bob
Oh,
Hope
yeah.
had a walk.
John Wayne.
John Wayne
Yeah.
invented the walk, I think. Well, like I say, Chuck Carson and Lynn Roberts are going to be along. Blue Racers will be along tomorrow, so you got to stick with the Exchange this week. It's a lot of fun.